gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new, very special edition of Stir the Pot, brought to you by What's Left Records, Anonymous Collective Music, and the Pyramid Scheme Productions. Tonight, we have a very special guest in the house. Let's give a very warm welcome to the one, the only, the incomparable, and the very knowledgeable cannabis enthusiast, and my dear friend, Jessica Pichardo. Jess, how's it going tonight?
Good, good. How are you, Glenn? Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. We've been looking forward to having you on the show for a while. And I do mean we, the collective, Aaron and I. My favorite smoking buddy was not able to join us tonight, but I want to give out special love and happiness to my friend. And I know you know him as well. So
what's up?
Yes, exactly. So we'll miss Aaron tonight. But Miss Jess, we're so glad to have you on board. And how's your weekend going?
It's going great. I started with a walk today. We've been dealing with some low air quality due to the fires in the area and all of that making its way to us. So today we had some blue skies, and it was a great way to start the day. So feeling very grateful today.
That's awesome. And again, thanks so much. You guys are checking out Stir the Pot on a Saturday night. We're here for you every 7 p.m. Rocky Mountain time. And that's 6 on the Pacific time and then 9 on the East Coast for my people like Marianne and Richie. I love all my guests, every guest. Jess, you'll be one again. This is the 5th show, so you're one of the chosen few so far. So with that said, let's kind of delve into it. Just the question that I like to ask folks just to get started, and that's, what was your first experience with cannabis without giving names and all that stuff? Yeah, just get into it a little bit for us, girl.
Absolutely. First, again, Glenn, thank you for having me, and congrats on the show. It's been great to see the guests and learn new things. So congratulations to you and Staples Media for all you guys are doing.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so my first time with cannabis actually wasn't until I was about 20 years old. I grew up in a household where we just didn't really talk about cannabis, and grew up in the age of DARE programs and living in an age of a little bit of reefer madness. And so I really wasn't about the green until I was a little bit older and was with a trusted friend. I felt in a safe, comfortable space that allowed me to try this mind-altering thing. But I don't have any exciting stories. I fell asleep and took a really great nap. So
sometimes those are just just as memorable experiences in their own right.
Absolutely. But now when I think about it, I've been watching the show, and you talk about maybe what I thought I was smoking at the time, and now I know that it was something indica, something with some heavy myrcene or something. But yeah, I don't remember what it was, but now knowing better,
Yeah, no, that's great. And for some people, the first time it doesn't affect them,
Yeah.
And so everyone, that's why I kind of like to ask that, because it's a different story for everybody. And so, yeah, so thanks so much for sharing that.
Absolutely.
So let's kind of delve into from use of cannabis about maybe, 10 years ago or 12 here in Colorado and about 15 in California, these wonderful things called dispensaries started to pop up in the United States of America. And again, they exist in other places in the world that are a little bit different thinking and maybe more open thinking, but you have been involved with that process that some people don't even know what that is even like to even go to one, let alone work at one or run one. So why don't you just start, how did you get into working with cannabis?
Absolutely. I think of the time when you got into the business or I got into the business, and how much it's changed already, so much. And I remember when I started to do research into making this leap into really an unknown and an industry that didn't have maybe job security or was a little bit taboo. I did the research trying to find a place that was almost most like what I had, right? So maybe had benefits, or had 401ks and things like this, and those really weren't things you could find in the dispensary. And so really it was my passion, I think, to help others and to show them what cannabis can do possibly for them. I know it's helped me so wildly, and so it was just a little bit of curiosity that I just allowed to grow, and allowed me to do research into how to join. And it led me to realizing that you needed a badge and needed to do all these things in Colorado when I started my my ride. So
Do you remember your first day bud tending?
yes, I do. I tend to dress up, when doing an interview, or showing up on the first day. And there was a little bit of a culture curb, coming from corporate areas that I had worked in before, to the first day. And I just remember seeing so much cannabis in one place, and
Yeah.
just wanting to pick up every jar and being encouraged to do so. And that was a really amazing thing. And once I don't think I'm still over, how wonderful it is to be around that much cannabis all the time. But once getting over that, you start to build relationships with these, patients and these people that come into the store. And that's pretty amazing. So,
Yeah, and coworkers as well, I imagine.
gosh, I got some good ones out of the gig. Glad
I just
glad
thought
I
of,
was one of them.
I thought of Antoine right away,
Yeah, I
because
thought of
that's
one yesterday.
just because that's one that we both worked with in separate jobs. But yeah, what a and Aaron, Aaron and Antoine are friends.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's a big community, Jess. And the one thing that I'm so blessed, and I know you feel the same, is we've met it's the link between so many of us, and that's how I met you, and that's how I met so many wonderful people, so many great friends, so many musicians, and our community continues to grow. And you all are doing amazing things. You started as a bud tender, and then what happened?
Yeah.
You did so
Well,
much more. You went into management. Go into that just a little bit. I mean, you've done so much, Jess.
sure. I love that I started as a bud tender. I know
Yeah.
that's not where everybody maybe needs to or wants to start, but I absolutely love that. And I feel like it's propelled me into new places, because I understand what it's like to be on the front lines of, cannabis retail, and helping others, and
Yes.
trying to carry that with a responsibility to be educated about what we're providing folks, and providing a safe space for people to come and pick up cannabis. So I'm glad I started there. But through the years, it's been almost 8 years now.
Wow.
Went into management, into kind of multi-store training. I was grateful to help teams open dispensaries and set them up from getting them built, and helping contractors to selling the first gram out of the door. So it's been really amazing. Yeah, and now I'm out in the Seattle area, and still doing Canna things. So
Yeah, and we're gonna get to that piece in a little
sure,
bit.
sure.
But one things I wanted to talk to you about is unique to your situation and somewhat enviable for someone like myself, is you've seen what it's like in different states to work in different environments. There's different laws, there's different regulations. It's something that you and I both know that a lot of people take for granted, how much there is that you have to comply to, and compliance is such a big piece of the industry. Maybe just compare, contrast a little bit, because again, Colorado and where you're at now in Washington are very different, I imagine.
Absolutely. I remember starting in the industry, and only, X amount of states having a trackable system for
Yeah.
cannabis, and Metric being the company, or, that's running these seed to sale tracking systems for Colorado, at least. They started to pick up new states, and they never picked up Washington. And so it always made me a little worried to come out here, because it is so different, right? So
Yeah.
a little bit of a learning curve, but they are regulated very differently, and it is very. I love having that experience of being able to see how Colorado's vertically integrated system works. So for those wanting to know more about that in Colorado, if I wanted to start a shop, I would grow Jessica cannabis and then I would sell Jessica cannabis, right? But
Yes.
in Washington, it's not like that. You actually cannot grow and process cannabis or a product and sell it. And so it
Interesting.
provides for lots of options as the consumer and as the businesswoman to provide to the customer. But it is very different, and they're regulated by different entities as well. So in Colorado you have they still call it the Med over there? What's in Colorado? Yeah.
Oh,
Their
girl.
enforcement division, and here in Washington it's actually run by the Liquor and Cannabis Board. So they treat it a little more like alcohol, or they try and house it under that umbrella, even though they're very different things. So
Yeah, a few states have adopted that model, it seems like. I believe New Mexico does the same thing
great.
as far as that. And Jess, thanks for outlining that, because, we do have a lot of listeners and people that watch us in Colorado and other states. So it's nice to see the dynamic of, what different states do. What about when people, is there medical there as well?
There is. If you speak to folks, there's either a sweet or a sour response to that, because
Okay.
medical has taken a little bit of a sidecar seat to the recreational market, which we think we've kind of seen in a lot of different areas and a lot of different states. And so they do. I'm very, very proud to be actually a Washington State certified medical consultant, marijuana consultant. And so it was yeah, thank you. And I was able to work with, patients again in that capacity, and really grow actually the amount of patients that were coming into the store that I had been managing. And so, I love keeping that at the forefront of what we do still. That's always still a big focus for me personally, because I feel like medical is what allows us to open up these recreational markets and
Absolutely. And
more comfortable.
yeah, the medical market is still about compassion, generally speaking. And that's what speaks to me, to be able to help people. And when you do get that feedback from patients about products working and things like that, it's a tremendous feeling. And talk about that, because I saw that in person with you. I saw you help people and create smiles and laughs and tears of joy for people. And just that, what does that bring to your life when you know that you've made an impact for people like that?
Absolutely. I think sometimes it's the impact of that is sometimes remembered after the fact, because you as well, Glenn, are just so wonderful at connecting with people where they are, and asking the right questions to unlock people's own curiosity, and maybe even take them to places that they weren't maybe thinking they would go, when it comes to products or trying something new. And so I really value the relationships that I've made with so many, customers or patients. And I hate ever using that word because, these folks just become, part of your day to day. There are folks that would come in 5 days a week and would be part of our, our schedule of connecting with folks. So I really value that. And it still drives me today to do what I'm doing and to continue being as educated as I can on what's out there to help people. So
Definitely. And it's great because patients, I think they really take to those relationships. They walk into these shops where there's good customer service and things and care and feel like there's somebody. And that, in this world, that's rare, where you feel like you're somebody and you walk in, you feel like you're important, and not in an arrogant way, not in a self-serving way, but just in a way where you meet someone in the middle, you have something in common, you have a conversation, it's inspiring, and then you move on with your day. And as you know, some patients in the medical world, you might take an hour and a half with them at the counter and go through an array of products. And then some people are like, this is what I need, and they're out within 5 minutes. So you see a whole spectrum, of folks, and then also folks that are 21 years old and 93. We had a patient that was 93 years old.
Gosh, the range of people, and that's what I love about being a cannabis user, is going out and showing folks what cannabis users can look like and sound like and be like and what they can do, because we are all out there, using cannabis to stay connected or to open ourselves up or to, conquer the world. So,
Yes,
yeah.
that's what you're doing. And on that note, I want to get a little interactive here. We have a group chat from Miss Kristen Billingsley, and she has said about you, Jessica, that I've known Jessica for over 20 years, and she's been like that since I've known her.
That's so sweet. Thank you, Kristen. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Try and lead with love, and yeah.
We really appreciate that interaction with folks. And just so you guys know, if you do have questions for Jessica after the fact, you can always check out her Facebook page, Canna Luz, which we're about to talk about. You also have an Instagram page for Canna Luz. Is there a Yes, there's a website as well. So we'll give all that information as well, and which will be fantastic. And then also you can go to stirthepotco at Gmail for questions, comments, love letters, all that good stuff. But don't send any cannabis-related products, please. Okay? That's one distinction. That's right. One distinction I need to make there. But so yeah, we're here with Jessica Pichardo. You're on Stir the Pot tonight. We're stirring it up on the Stables Network. I want to thank my producer who's not able to be with us tonight, Tony Russo, Big Italiano, and then of course our favorite smoking buddy, Aaron. But Jess, thanks so much for joining us. And yeah, so you've got your own consulting company, which I love the name, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes, and so before we get into the meat and potatoes of it, what started the idea? I know you've been kind of doing freelance consulting for years. Just to give a caveat there for you, you've been doing this already. Now you're formalizing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, gosh, this year has been a lot for a lot of people in a lot of ways.
Yes.
And I did just want to touch briefly on the latest news, with RBG passing yesterday. Gosh, that was a devastating one. Yeah, I was on the phone with my mom when I got the news, and I'm glad we were able to share that together. So,
yeah.
But yeah, the year has been, odd in a lot of ways. And, I feel like it was time to put myself out there and really continue to support businesses how I already do. But, under this new umbrella and this new exciting chapter. And yeah, my new business, Canna Luz, has been just so much fun. I've got to meet a lot of really great people. So
that's fantastic. So I checked out the website. I checked out the Facebook page and all that. Again, you're a friend of mine. I would support and anything that I can do to help you, I will do that and continue to do that.
Thank you.
But I was very intrigued because there were so many cool things. Oh, there's my producer. Let's say hi to him really quickly. Hello, beautiful man. We'll give him a second. But Jess, one thing I was going to ask you about that is you have so many different things that you can, preparing for an interview to be a bud tender, what that looks like, what management looks like in the industry. So many different options for people. It's incredible. I mean, what a great resource.
Thank you.
Yeah, just, a little meat and potatoes of that, what that's about, because I know that you're really excited and you're bringing a lot of enthusiasm to that. It's great.
There's a lot of options because there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of places I know that not only I personally can, help make an impact, but, can continue to spread positive and productive cannabis advocates, just by having conversations and having folks join us today, who are
Yeah.
just a little bit curious. And so it's really exciting. I'm able to, work with businesses, but, in the middle of that, do consulting and help individuals. And it's been really wonderful. I love doing the bud tender interview prep because a lot of folks, so many people would come in as a hiring manager and as operations manager and a training manager and all the roles that I've had, seen so many great candidates come in, but they just weren't prepared for just the little bit of difference it is to come into the cannabis industry and how to talk about the skills maybe they have that can translate into a bud tender position or into management in the cannabis industry. And so it's really great to meet folks who are ready to jump in and are eager to learn and to get them ready for success and more confident going into those things. So yeah, one of many, many options on there. So
Yeah, that's so great because, my personal experience, just in working with you, we conducted a lot of interviews together, and we did a lot of in-house talking about what worked and what didn't work, and even down to how people were dressed, and things like that. And so I imagine with some of these processes that you're, showing people, it's giving them a lot of like a leg up on some folks that maybe aren't aware of how important, how a resume should look, and things like that, how a cover letter should read, how you present yourself. It's just as important as the words spoken. And then, you always ask really, good, you taught me how to ask really good questions in interviews. And so talk a little bit about that. How did that, is that just a natural inclination for you? Is that something, a skill that you've developed over time, or both?
absolutely. I definitely think it was over time, and it was both being in those positions, but also and knowing what it takes to be successful, be a successful bud tender and
Yeah,
be a great community cannabis advocate, but also to be the person hiring and looking for really great folks. Even if they didn't have cannabis industry, that's not always the candidate you're looking for. And
yeah,
so, I can think of a few folks that we hired, that were just new to industry, but did really great. And so, but it's, one of those, we'll use one of those as an example. One of these gentlemen, was new to industry, but we were throwing an event at the dispensary, and this gent showed up to the event because he had been following us on, I think,
yes, you
on our
did.
social media, and showed up, knowing what the company was about, knowing that we were having the event, and was excited to meet us, and, brought us his resume at the event. And it's that sort of extra homework that really goes a long way, when
Yeah,
you're putting your best foot forward, and wanting to be maybe not just a paycheck, maybe a professional.
yeah. What's great too is just, in hindsight as well, a couple of those gentlemen, one that the aforementioned, is still thriving where he's
Yes, I've
at
seen
and moving
that.
up, and the other one is actually took my old position as assistant manager.
That's
So
wonderful.
yeah, I know, right? So it's that's
And gosh, the folks that we know, Glenn, they're doing such great things and in different places.
yes, I
Heard
know.
I heard Mark and Miles shout out Gino, but I wanted to shout out Gino and Ree out there too,
I
and
do
Johnny, and
too.
yeah,
Yes.
it's amazing.
And I would love to have them on the show. I reached out to them.
Cool.
So hoping to hear back soon. Yeah, they're doing, thank you for mentioning that, Jess. There's
Absolutely.
so many great people doing wonderful things all over the country with cannabis. It's exciting, and there are friends. Like, it's a big community, and people like yourself took what you learned in Colorado and took it to a new level, and then now even a new extensive level for you on a professional note. It's so exciting. And talk about the name Canna Luz, because I know you're a Latina, and that's an important part of your story, Jess.
Absolutely. Canna Luz was kind of a meeting of two worlds, which I feel like is a lot of my identity. I'm a Mexican American, I'm a Latina, and so I've always been in between two things. And so Canna from cannabis, and Luz meaning light, and that's something I'm a big believer in sharing, both of myself, but whatever there is in the world to share that makes things better, I think is always a good thing. But another part of our purpose, and I say our because it's going to be a big thing, but
Yeah.
Canna Luz is about pushing for representation, not only in the cannabis industry, but all over. But trying to push for more women and Black and Brown advocates and professionals to join the industry, and to see more people like myself and reflected in our community, because I know that we're out there. And so that's one of my missions with Canna Luz, is to continue to drive diversity and representation as a real important thing, and also social equity, and making sure that we can find some ownership in the industry as well. Very important.
Yeah, and also it brings strength in numbers. Your type of program and what you're doing, Jess, and the education that you are spreading is going to be inspirational to other women. Maybe some women that were a little bit afraid to reach out. Maybe some women that it's not in their state, but they're going to ramp up because of a Jessica Pichardo.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And one other area that I've had just so much fun and found so much passion and purpose in has been working with the Cannabis Alliance, and they're a Washington-based trade association. And I'm actually a committee chair. Just started doing criminal justice and focusing on the reforms that we can help push here in Washington. So another leg of that social equity piece that I find so important in making sure that when legalization happens, maybe for all 50 states, that it's a little more equitable for everyone out there. So I'm very excited to continue my work with them as well.
Great job. And Jess, like I told you when I met you, you're going to be running for office somewhere, someday. I know it. I see it. I see a campaign manager in your glimpse.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. That's the thing. What's going on these days?
I know.
That doesn't drive you to
No.
do something, I don't know.
Yeah, I know, but we're all striving, not all, but hopefully most, or collectively, there's a positive strive for a better place, for a new now.
I want to take a moment to encourage everybody to go vote. Make sure you're registered to vote. We got, I think,
thanks for that, Jess.
45 days or something left. So we're getting
coming
there.
down, definitely. And absolutely. I feel like it's one of the few voices that we have. And I agree with you 100%. I encourage people, and definitely young people, get out and vote. And that's one thing that I've seen a trend, especially with the last, and we won't get into politics too much here, but just very quickly, since it was brought up, when you have candidates that are all over 70, and again, that's my parents' range and stuff, it was harder to get younger people, but then you saw someone like a Sanders that came along that kind of helped to mobilize and inspire young people. It's going to be interesting to see. But my hope for the future is a cannabis-friendly president, but also someone that understands that we are so far behind on research and things that can be done on an academic level. Because Jessica, you and I both know that the private sector for profit is exactly that. You can't expect these people to take part of what they do and make it into more of an educational research-based programs. We need universities around the country, just like there are already in other parts of the world, as we know, to jump on board, and not have we have 2 that grow cannabis here in the United States. It's just one little thing, but we need our cannabis rights protected. So Jess, thanks for that. And we need people that are informed. It's not a bipartisan thing. It's a human thing.
Absolutely. And there's, like you said, I go into a spiral of that conversation, but the point is just to show up and use your vote that you have, so.
Yes, exactly. So folks, we're about halfway through a wonderful, very uplifting show with my friend Jessica Pichardo, and we are doing this for another half hour. So we got a lot more to talk about, and a lot more fun stuff. We're gonna laugh a little bit. I'm gonna get you going on some giggles, because you are a very vivacious, energetic lady, very effervescent as well. And speaking of effervescent, let's just take a quick second because you know our guest for next week. It's going to be Joe Vegas from Stratus.
Yes.
Yeah, so Stratus, educate the folks a little bit. What the heck is Stratus, Jess?
Very, very excited for that. Stratus is a great, reputable product. Gosh, the thing that they do is so expansive and very important, you know, to know where and what your product is. And so I'm very excited from. So I love Stratus, but I love Joe even more. I'm so excited. You're going to connect with him. I will be tuning in for sure because he's very knowledgeable and very uplifting as well. So
yeah, and actually, I don't know the names, but another rep and one of the owners is coming on the show as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Again, I don't have the names, but I do apologize. But yeah, I'm going to talk to Joe this week. And Jess, thanks so much for your support of Stir the Pot.
Absolutely.
Ever since episode 1, you've been just like really supportive, really positive. And I want to say that to everybody. Honestly, like so many people, Jess, are tuning into you. So many people are digging this show. And again, it's not about me. It's about us. You know,
we would say that, you know, our team, our guys were the show, or you know, our teammates were the show. You know?
And I just want to take a second, we're about halfway through, to thank everybody that's tuned in to all these shows, to all the people that have watched on YouTube, to all the wonderful comments, everything, family, friends, patients that I helped watch my show. There's nothing that touches my heart to know more that people are still want to be involved with cannabis and want, you know, I'm not able to stand behind the counter and make them laugh, but there's other ways that we can all interact. I'm super excited to have people on the show, just like yourself, Jess, that are so passionate and just so focused on what you're doing. I just want to take a second to say how proud I am of you.
Thank you, Glenn.
That's as a friend, you know, you're a friend of mine. We've known each other 4 or 5 years now.
We're ticking off the years there. Yeah.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah. And what's great too about Jessica, I just want to say, this woman is a live music fanatic. And she was so supportive of my band Menagerie in so many ways. And we actually performed, she got us a cool gig at the Roots Summer Jam, which we wrote a song about. And just, you're so great at organizing things like that. But tell me, I know your heart's hurting because no live shows right now.
Just yesterday, I tuned into the second of the week of a live, you know, band stream. The band Hyrie, they're a reggae outfit from San Diego. They did a live full band live stream, and I tuned in for that because my battery's running low, Glennie. I need some live music. So.
I know, and that's something.
How have you and your friends been doing with that? Gosh, I mean, like you said, I remember seeing you rock out so many times. So
I know.
Gosh, I know.
So supportive. And Jess, the Zodiac and the Triple Nickel are gone.
I saw that. I'm absolutely devastated.
Just so you guys know, yeah, those are a couple of venues, and we're seeing it across the country, especially for folks like myself that play the smaller dive bar venues. A lot of them have disappeared. So RIP Zodiac and Triple Nickel, love you so much. Played so many shows there over the last 10 years. But yeah, Jess,
team builders there, remember?
I know, exactly. Haven't jammed with the band for 6 months. I actually have 2 bands now. So we'll have to see when it comes all back. Got like a Sunshine in the Land of Milk and Honey.
Yes.
And then Menagerie has just been on hiatus kind of before the COVID. But yeah, the new band, you're going to dig. It's kind of like a punk rock, psychedelic thing. And yeah, by the way, make sure you send me your address because I want to send you a couple of my new CDs because you've always been supportive with my music.
I just listened to, what was it, like the 6-track about the girl in space?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Supersonic Splashdown.
Yes, I just listened to the first 3 of those the other day. So yeah, I loved the vibe. It was great music. So.
Yeah, it's kind of, I did 2 just real quickly. I don't like talking about myself, but you asked. So I did 2 albums this year. Actually, let's see if we can. Yeah. So Sunshine in the Land of Milk and Honey.
Yes.
and great artwork by Brock Smith. And then songs and drums and wolves. You would think I know my own titles. So one album is like a punk rock thing, which I know you love punk rock music.
Yes.
And then the other one is more like a psychedelic kind of like dreamy,
Oh, I felt
something
that.
really different. So I want to combine both and get them all together. And then when Canna Luz does their grand opening facility, we'll play.
That's right. I'll call you. We talked about you having to play in the Pacific Northwest now, so
I'm all about it. Once
I get you up here.
I'm so hungry to play live again, just to do it. Like the feeling that you get from performance. Well, I mean, you do
On
it
the other side of that, I was going to say, just know, Glenn, there are folks yearning to hear you all play too, because
thank you, Jess. You're awesome.
We miss live music as fans, and we miss
Yeah.
supporting those businesses. Gosh, when I heard about the Zodiac, I was really sad about that. I noticed the Black Sheep did a little like renovation and are trying to do some things. So go out there and support when you can, safely when you can.
Thanks for that, Jess. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we want to give a quick shout out to the What's Left Records and Staples Media.
I saw that. Yeah.
A couple of our sponsors.
I did pop in when I come visit.
I'm working there tomorrow. I wish you could come hang out. I know, it's my first day.
That's good.
Shout out to the Ostro. And again, it's just like a part-time thing. My friends are going out of town. They work there full time. It's the Sean and Brian Ostro.
Perfect person to.
Yeah, and you know them too, just because they booked a lot of the shows and things around town. They had their little venue, the Flux Capacitor, as well.
Yes,
I know. Again, Jess is a big music enthusiast, and
just
so let's segue a little bit. What?
It's just good to hear all those things. I miss it.
Let's segue a little bit because your expedition that you take usually your reggae. Tell people what that's about. That's a unique thing that you do. That's cool. And it's cannabis related, of course.
Yeah. So there's a reggae festival that I like to go to called Closer to the Sun, but it is not going on this year because of COVID. Yeah. So again, putting a bookmark in that book and coming back to it hopefully next year. So yeah, more, again, just tie to live music and to the community again, that like it is with cannabis, the community it brings, and lots of folks that I've met through that travel. So
it seems, I remember some pictures. You take wonderful pictures on your vacations, and I remember seeing some really interactive, like Michael Franti, like in this, like with the crowd, like in the middle of the crowd, and things like that. Talk about that, how special that type of experience is.
Absolutely. That particular set, he like jumped into the lagoon because you get to like be in the ocean while you listen to certain sets. It's pretty amazing.
Man.
Yeah, so
that's heaven.
he jumped into the water and started a splash fight that we were not expecting, and everybody was just having the best time. So
that's so cool. Wow. I mean, that's really neat.
And it's great to follow bands and artists that are thought leaders on cannabis, thought leaders on they're just very aware of social injustices and things that are going on. And so it's nice to support artists who also, mirror your passions in that way. And cannabis is a big one, there's always the band that puts on that particular festival's Slightly Stupid, and they are very, very much about cannabis. So it's so fun. Yeah.
And from San Diego, Ocean Beach in the house.
Yeah.
So just speaking of that and activism, I wanted to share this with you. So this is me.
I saw that on your last show. What is that?
This is me smoking a joint, freedom of choice. What this is from, and there were t-shirts. I wish I had one. But what that's from is from an event that we did in 1989 at Sonoma State University to highlight cannabis.
Amazing. Glenn.
Yeah, 1989. And we were actually made the San Francisco and the Santa Rosa News. We were on both stations. And it's funny, they even caught a little bit of me, my friend Rob. It's very, very cool to look back on that and feel like that's even a part of what we're doing now. And that's 1989, girl.
I was just talking to someone, I think it might have been actually on the last show, because I was talking to one of my friends here, and then I had noticed as well that I think was mild. Like, I've only had weed from a dispensary. And I'm
Right,
like, that's amazing
right.
for that. So how do you feel, you've been an activist for such a long time and you've helped us get here, Glenn, to this place where we have the privilege of being able to, go pick up cannabis at the shop. So how do you feel about that, looking back on times like those?
Precious and very, I mean, just, you know me personally, I've always championed all movements. I've always, the gay rights movement, Black, Latino, trans, musicians, freaks. I've always been okay with people being different than me, but I want to accept them and I want to understand part of their journey. And I want to be accepting and I want to be inclusive. And I feel like cannabis, is a smaller umbrella, but yes, it is part of all that. And so it feels great. It feels like we're coming full circle, and that's ugly in a lot of ways. But that's, as you know, some of these things need to take place to get to a better place. No one, it's just like always feeling happy. You have to feel unhappiness to understand what happiness is. And so I feel like, and it's like people that are poor and get money, they might appreciate it more than folks that have always had it. So I'm just a believer that, we can do better, and that I feel like we're not where we want to be from 1989, but we're doing really well. And again, we have folks, like you, and other folks that are younger that have a lot of energy, a lot of vitality, and most importantly, a lot of ideas. Ideas are what drives this industry, what drives cannabis. And
Absolutely.
just the beautiful thing of just like you dreaming up your company, just that process alone, it's wonderful. It's a
Absolutely.
gift.
Glenn, you really have always championed so many different movements, and it's important to realize how much those intertwine sometimes,
Yes.
how, the cannabis movement and the war on drugs, it has disproportionately affected Black and Brown communities. And so
Yeah.
then that affects, right, the rights of those communities, and how are those communities being supported, by folks. And so it all intertwines, and so it's so great to know thought leaders like yourself who, are again championing these things in their everyday conversations, because that's where the work happens, is when we're out in the world doing new things and starting
Yes.
new businesses and creating new exciting things. So it's been, a thing that I've been nurturing for a very long time, and gosh, to see it out in the world breathing now, it's pretty great. So
It's so exciting. And I'm so excited just to see where this takes you next on your journey. And just to let everyone know, you're going to be back on the show. This is the type of thing where we want to keep caught up with you. You're a professional, you're focused, you're driven, you're doing a lot. And again, and that's true of all the guests that we have. We want to be able to at some point revisit, whether it's you come on, in a month or wherever. There's not really a time thing, but it's more about checking in with you and having you be
absolutely.
a part. It's important to our viewers too. It's like in our first episode, we had Daniel and Chelsea, who and soon thereafter, Daniel got a job working in cannabis in another state. They're in Tennessee. And then, Chelsea's just a yoga guru. We know that. So, and then the second show were some Richie and Marianne, who were folks that were reaching out about some opportunities to grow a hemp farm and et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah,
Yeah,
you're always going to.
I'll have to come back with an update and let you know. There's lots to discuss. I don't know if you saw that the MORE Act was pushed till after election. So the historic vote on legalization
Yes.
federally has been pushed till after the election. So that's kind of a bummer, but definitely we have a lot of work to do to spread positive messages and portrayals of us as cannabis users out in the world. So that folks can, I think that's another thing a lot of folks don't realize is you can always be an advocate without being a user. And that's something that I've been really grateful of conversations, with folks that I know talking about cannabis even when they don't use it. That's
Yeah.
what I want, is people to talk about it and to be comfortable with it, so that
Yeah.
know the science and the great that it can do, even if they're not using it for themselves. So.
And exactly, I'm glad you brought that up, because it's something that Aaron brought up in a previous episode, is that it's not for everyone,
It's
but
not.
but
Yeah.
also,
I love that call out. And
yeah,
I love that call out, because it's true. It's not for everyone. And again, a reason why Canna Luz exists is to educate people how to safely and responsibly consume, and to maximize, the benefits of it. So, yeah, it's not for everybody, but for those that it does work for, gosh.
that's interesting. So do you, or would you be, like, let's say someone comes to you and they want to set up like a regimen for themselves, how to use cannabis? Is that something that you're able to? I know you're able to, but is that something that you can provide for folks as well?
Absolutely. What I try to make clear is, giving those disclaimers, just how we had to be very careful in the store, whether it be bud tending, or that
Yes.
we're not doctors, we're not nurses.
Oh,
Nothing that we say is going to cure or is meant to diagnose what folks are going through.
yes.
And so always, again, being a very safe and cautious educator, I always want to make that clear. But yes, that I'm up to discuss and do discuss with folks, dosing, what that can look like. Maybe refer products that are tested, that we trust, or that folks have found to be of benefit. But yes, personal sessions are important. I've actually had a couple education sessions with folks who, again, don't use cannabis, but wanted to be more in tune with what it is for their family members, or they have someone who uses cannabis and they just don't get it. They're like, well, how does this work? I'm trying to understand better how my family member, what do they get out of it? And it's really interesting, the different types of people I've been able to engage with, folks who want to use cannabis, but also folks who, maybe are in other professions that, want to learn more. So
I just love the phrase, I'm trying to understand. I just go back to that. It's beautiful, Jess, because yeah, they're maybe not want to use it or something, but they are interested. They
and
want,
that could be some of the reason. I mean, we saw that sometimes when patients have caregivers
yeah,
who are totally new to cannabis, but they're expected to help their loved one dose a
yeah,
tincture, or they're sent
yeah,
with a small piece of paper that says CBD and says, give me this. And
right,
there's so many places that can go. So
yeah,
for the sake of, again, just efficacy, but as well, for a really consistent and positive experience, it's nice to share with people, what the endocannabinoid system is, what
yes,
endocannabinoid health looks like, that you can find benefits of hemp or cannabis without getting high, or you
yeah,
know so
yeah,
yeah, there's just
definitely.
so many places to go with that, and again, all that to say that sometimes you have folks who are thrust into cannabis by virtue of someone that they love, or someone that they're there to help. So
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great. Folks, wonderful insight here from Jessica Pichardo. I call her Jessie James because she's a sharpshooter. But we got about 12 minutes left. We're having a fantastic show here on Stir the Pot. This is episode number 5, which is my favorite number. So,
okay.
Jess, you lucked out. And just for the folks out there tuning in, if you want to reach Jessica, again, she's got a website. Jess, what's the website?
Yes, so my information is, the website is Calendly, that's .com/Canna Luz. It's a scheduling website.
Okay.
Or you can reach me on social media at Canna Luz. It's CANNALUZ. And I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and then on Facebook as well. So tune in for updates. That's kind of the thing as well. I'm going to update it and provide insights and tidbits and knowledgeable pieces, but they will be, here and in between, because I'll be working with, different clients and things. So when stuff comes through, it'll be of value and be stuff that you'll want to stay tuned for. So
Yeah, and she's a busy lady, but folks also will definitely be linking up with her page, with the Stir the Pot page, and we'll share any and all information that we can about what Jess is doing, and upcoming seminars, things that she might be a part of as well. And so just one question that I always like to ask folks, and this one I know you're going to just destroy like the rest of them, hit a grand slam, is, and again, could be any aspect, and you might know this question already because you've watched a few episodes. What does the future of cannabis look like? Again, doesn't have to be any particular aspect, but use your goggles into the future and tell us what you see.
I'm going to tell you what I see and hope for.
Yes.
And
Beautiful.
what I hope for, is a more equitable industry. I'd like to see a lot more of my friends and family or people in the Latino community out there running and owning shops and doing big things.
Yes.
But I also hope to see products that we can trust and a continued, I guess, focus on testing and making sure that things are safe and pesticide free. And so again, just products that are clean and come from reputable resources. I'm really hoping that we can all jump on board and at least agree on that we want to have, really tasty, good products that are safe for us to consume. So that's what I hope for. And I do see it just continuing to grow. Gosh, Glenn, where we are now,
Woo.
I think when I joined the industry, there was 12 medical, actually no, it was less than that. I think it might've been 9 medical states or something like that. And now I think we're at 33 medical states. So it's pretty amazing how quickly it's going. I saw today Vermont, I think, is next. They're going to put it, they're like one step away from signing legalization out in Vermont. So
good for them. No, that's great. And Jess, thanks for the current events. I might have to snag you for my current event lady. Have you come on and give us the dope. No, especially about the MORE too, because that was something that the MORE Act that Mark mentioned as well last week. Yeah. So that's something, so appreciate them current events from you. That's great. So what's your take on the robots running dispensaries vision that some of my guests have had? Do you think that's a good thing, or?
I don't think I've heard about that. What's the idea?
Robotics is definitely, there's already like, I don't want to say the name by giving them, but there's a very famous fast food chain that I guess already has an all robotic store. So I don't know. We just had a conversation on an earlier episode about, a dispensary run by robots, and like, what would that look like? Whew, I don't know. I don't like it myself.
All I hear is like crushed buds and like.
I'm sorry.
Crushed buds, lots of shade, overpacked cones. Already pre-rolls sometimes. Gosh, I get the efficiency, but it can.
Right. Or vending machines too. Is that? I think some states are already toying with that.
I mean, I personally would not mind if I was at a place and there was a vending machine available for me to grab a pre-roll and I didn't even think about it. So like, as a consumer, I can see that, but I would hope that it didn't take too much from the dispensary experience. At the same token though, Glenn, I mean, when you have such a high volume store, the length of your transactions with folks changes by need of sense of urgency, and so it's also, I don't know, it could open up spaces for people to have more time with their bud tenders, or to, if not everybody's in the store. So I don't know. How do you feel about it? I don't think I caught your take.
I don't know. I've never really answered. I just like all your guys' answers. I'll probably come up with a nice compilation answer eventually. I don't know. Again, I'm on the hope side of things, so I'm a lot with you on that. Safeness, patient discretion, patient's rights, not going into information files, and there's always going to be people that are going to say, well, it already is and this and that, but there's just a certain peace of mind that I want people to have when they go in. They feel good about it and stuff, and especially like the older generation, that it's a faster growing demographic, as you know, and those are people that lived with the taboo aspect of cannabis for so long. It's very hard to undo. So I want to, comfort those people, and hopefully a show like this can help give them awareness. And again, even if it's not your interest or things like that, as far as wanting to try it, you might have interest in seeing that, wow, this is in Colorado alone, a $2 billion industry. There's 600 grows, 500 dispensaries, 300 production facilities that do edibles and concentrates, 12 testing facilities just in this state. How many jobs is that?
It's amazing. Yeah,
right?
and again, it's only going to get bigger. So if you want to help out, you come talk to Canna Luz, and we'll help you get ready.
I like it. I like it so much. Definitely. So just got about 5 minutes left. We're just on the tail end. Is there anything that you want to cover or that we haven't? Because we've covered a lot and it's been a great show. But is there any like shout outs that you want to give or like just anything under the sun, my dear? Yeah.
I actually did. If anybody happens to be watching actually anyone can join because of the time of COVID. But yes. The Cannabis Alliance is hosting their 6th annual Cannabis Summit next week on September 24th and 25th. And it's 2 days of keynote speakers, folks from different states. We have some speakers from Oregon coming in and wow. Talking about from packaging to compliance to more diversity, those sorts of conversations. So if anybody's interested, you can go to the Cannabis Alliance and find them online. And under their events, you can get tickets. There's still some room for folks. But I will be helping with that. So I would love to see folks join. And then please, reach out to me for Canna Luz. I have an email. It's info@canna-luz.com. If anybody has questions or wants to connect, I'd love to say hi. So
yeah, and you can send all your fan mail and love letters that you don't send to Jess's other, well, it's everybody's address, and that's stirthepotco at gmail.com, because we're going to get an influx after this show, I can already tell. But Jess, it's been such a pleasure. I've had so much fun having you on the show, and I can't wait to hear, like, next time you're on, just where you're going, because you're always a shooting star, always moving forward, always moving up, and always staying positive. So thank you so much. I want to do a little bit of bill paying here before we go. We have a couple more minutes. We will definitely close it out with a couple of laughs. But I just want to give a shout out to Stables Media. Freedom to Rock granted on Fridays from 5 to 6:30 on Stables Media and Facebook Live. Bear All TV, which is, I believe, on Tuesdays with the wonderful Marianne Castello. We are sponsored by Stables Media, What's Left Records in Colorado Springs, Anonymous Collective Records, Anonymous Pacific Records, Pyramid Scheme. I think that's it. And folks, if you want to come on board for sponsors, we're all about it. Please, we would love to. We love just giving the word out to great companies and products and people that we believe in, just like Jessica. So we're going to do our best to promote any and everybody that we can. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been Stir the Pot. And Jess, we got about a minute and a half left before we start grooving again. And I know you're ready to dance.
I love your music. I love the music for Stir the Pot.
So I got to say, that's my daughter composed this track.
Which I heard you say, I think on the first show. And
I know, I feel bad.
Lady, she killed it. It's so great.
I feel badly that I haven't given her enough love. My family is the reason that I'm able to do this type of show. My wife, Miriam, and my daughters, Alex and Roxy, and my beautiful 29-year-old daughter, Fiona, who is also involved with the cannabis industry and will be on a show later on. But
shout out to all the ladies. It's
always ladies' night. Hey, every night is ladies' night in my house. I have a wife, 2 daughters with me, and then a Lady the dog, as you know Lady the dog. Yeah. So, but yeah, Jess, it's just been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for all the information. And again, like I said, I said this off there, but I'm going to say it right now. You look fantastic tonight.
Thank you, Glenn.
Yeah. So again, just thank you for shining your Canna Luz on us. We really appreciate it. And we want to say just to everyone else, just be happy, healthy, stay positive. It's a crazy world out there right now, but let's just keep navigating through it together. It's about community. It's about love. I choose love. I don't know about you, No, I do know about you. You choose love too.
Love.
Yep. So we got the heart there. And just again, I just want to thank you. Do you want any famous last words, my dear?
No, thank you so much, Glenn, for having me. I appreciate it. And good luck again on the show. It's been great. It's reaching so many people and so needed. So thank you so much for all you're doing.
I appreciate you. Again, you've been watching Stir the Pot on Stables Media. I am your host, Greno. My favorite smoking buddy, Aaron, is not able to be with us, but Aaron, we love you. And much kudos to my amiga, Jessica Pichardo, JP, also Jesse James. I have so many nicknames for my friends. You know that.
I have a lot of nicknames for you too, Glennie, so
I
I'll
know
leave them
you
there.
do. I know you do. So again, Jess, let's get our groove on. We love you guys. Thanks again. Stir the Pot. We'll be back next week with the folks from Stratus, Joe U Vegas and company. We'll see you then. Make sure you tune in to YouTube and Facebook. This will be on soon. We'll get rocking with you. We love you guys. See ya. Oh, 1 second. Let's get our groove on, Jesse.
Do it.
Stir the Pot. Episode 5 with Jessica Pichardo. It's in the books. Oh, yeah, it's in the books now. In the books. See you next week, everybody. Stay sexy. La 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 la.